YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. Look at what we got here again. We're going for round 2 on the Blade 330S. This thing is awesome. I am learning to fly. This helicopter makes me super confident. And when you look at the windsock out there, you can see that we are dealing with fall in central Iowa. Anybody in central Iowa can give me a amen. Because basically when it gets to be in fall, you go between terrible weather and other terrible weather that's slightly different from the previous terrible weather. So today we're gonna take off, we're gonna fly, we're gonna do a little bit of sport flying, then we're gonna bring it into the bowl, got a little better lighting. We're gonna see what we can do with it. Testing the surfaces. Everything looks good. That is so cool. Okay, here we go. Remember, don't be ashamed to jump. That's how you build confidence with your camera crew. That is so pretty. Oh yeah, baby. That is so cool looking.
It sounds impressive.
It does. You see the wind?
Yeah.
It's pushing it. Guys, it's just incredible to me that I can bank a helicopter so much and stay in the same position. Isn't that just weird? The manned aircraft is way up there, by the way.
Yeah, I couldn't even see him when I looked up.
He's way, way, way up there. He's above the clouds. Okay, so enough sport flying. Let's go over here and see if we can do something cool. We're going to the bowl. If you want to lead the way, I'll go behind you. Okay, perfect, right there. Okay, so historically the bowl has been a great place for us to practice some of this because the wind is the most turbulent in our entire property. Wait, hold on, that didn't seem right. It's true though. Okay, so we're gonna go up here. We're gonna get a couple mistakes high. I wanted to try this the other day. Oh, that is so cool. Inside out loop. Oh, that is so much fun. Holy cow. Okay, so bringing it down a little bit, we're gonna relax, let the battery recover.
Can we, or can I go around the side of the house?
Yes,
I'm worried
please do.
my mic is gonna pick up all
That's
the
fine.
noise.
Okay, so I am out of safe right now. I'm just trying to get myself, actually go further. There you go, we'll both be out of the wind now.
Okay.
Okay, cool. I just don't like being hamstrung in here.
Yeah, I know.
That is so amazing, guys. 10.1 volts, that's usually not a good reading. Looks so stinking awesome, guys. Okay, so we're gonna go into the crazy mode. That is insanity up there, guys. Do you hear how much faster it's going now?
Yeah.
Look at this. It's like, which way's up? Which way's up? Just kidding. I got it. Coming down. I'm gonna do a higher speed pass. You good?
Yeah.
You hear how much noisier it is?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the ups now. And then here's the downs. Okay, so just turning it around, guys. The thing that's so cool about this is you just basically, you just do what you're gonna do. You keep your finger on the trigger. You know that you can get out of trouble. Isn't that so bizarre? I'm hoping you're zoomed a lot.
It's
camera
really
crew.
hard to zoom. I'll try, okay.
Okay, into safe. By the way, one word of warning, when you go into safe, just keep in mind you're about 50% on your stick, okay? So these are our septic lids. We always try to point that out. In case you guys are wondering what that is, if you're in town, that's where our crap lives. Yes. Our human feces are in this big machine down here under the ground. Look at that. I was flying next to the human feces.
It's not a machine.
It is a machine. It is a passive machine, folks. Okay, so going into crazy mode again, sticks at middle. Oh, that is incredible. Okay, I'm into safe. Boy, it just snaps that sucker right back where you want it. It is just, the confidence you get from being able to go between insane mode right back to safe, even in wind, it's just, it's so endearing to me because I already love, whoa, look at all the geese. Check this out. I don't want to have a goose strike. Check this out. They're going overhead right now. You ready?
Oh, geez.
By the way, if you hit a goose like that, you'd be screwed in this plane.
Yep.
Okay, so going back into crazy mode. Okay. Okay, into safe, mid stick. One thing I can tell you guys is that like right now, I'm in safe. That was the easiest I've ever had when I felt like I was a little bit disoriented. I kind of had a general idea of where I was going. This is my timer counting down. We've had 5 minutes of throttle time. Whoa, I almost ran into the ground there. Sorry, folks. That was a little embarrassing. 108 Fahrenheit. We're getting all sorts of warnings from this telemetry chick. Guys, it is turbulent in that spot where I'm flying. Going back to sport flying mode for just a minute. I am in safe. Boy, that thing looks so cool. What do you think, camera crew, of this thing? Does it just scare you to death or what?
To death, no.
You just know how easy it is for me to go from that was awesome to, oh crap, now I got a 4-hour repair on my hands.
I've filmed and flown with you so much that when you fly airplanes, I really kind of know what I think you're gonna do, and I trust you. This is just different.
It's so different. It really is, even for me too, folks. And the camera crew really puts a lot of trust in me and my piloting. And especially when I'm learning new things, for me, it's so much fun. It's invigorating. It reminds me of the insane scariness that you have when you first fly. And yet, you know, what's nice is once you get some of the basics down, you can start building on the basics and you can end up in something like this not too far down the road. Now, is this a beginner helicopter? I would say on the scale of 1 to 10, 10 being heck no, never, and 1 being probably not. I would say it's somewhere right in the middle. So heck no would be a good answer for that. Is this a beginner heli? Now this is a beginner heli on the range of the spectrum of helicopters because the helicopters get insane very quick. And by the way, this is the best time in the history of time to learn to fly a helicopter. By far. Am I into the darker backdrop for you there?
You're good where you are.
Okay.
That yellowy green really pops.
And just coordinating your turns in a helicopter really does help. Guys, I get so much joy out of flying these helicopters. It's just, I love the way they look. I need to get into scale helicopters because that's my real love in this aircraft business, is just being able to see a plane or a helicopter that looks very realistic. But I'll tell you what, in terms of sport action and fun, doing 3D flight with a helicopter to me is just invigorating. It gets the juices flowing. It scares me. It's exciting. It's super fun. And by the way, it is just a different thing than flying a fixed wing plane. And yes, I'm going back and forth, mostly to keep away from extreme boredom on your part. But we have been flying for about 2 minutes 49 over 5, so that'd be 7 minutes and 53 or 4 seconds on a single 2200 Gen 2 Smart Pack here. 30C rating. We'll show you how bad it's puffed when we get out of the air. Now, also a couple things to consider when you're considering a helicopter like this. You can see the space we're flying within. And this area is ample for this helicopter, very much ample, okay? Now, if you're trying to fly a more higher performance plane in an area like this, you're gonna have to be really trained up in flying in tight quarters. I get crap constantly from people, from all the do-gooders in the community, the RC community, about flying here, and I just don't really understand what more I can give to people. When you fly on 100 acres with 3 houses, my impression is that's a pretty stinking good setup. But 100 acres is a lot of space, folks. And by the way, a quarter of that we own personally.
I was gonna say, we own a bunch of it.
So also we have blessing from the people that we overfly and the lands that we overfly. And that's something that we understand is not necessarily always going to be the case for many of you. But we also know that many of you have a similar circumstance because you're out on the farm or you're out in the country and you're just basically away from the humanoids. We were very, 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 very unusually fortunate to have such an amazing neighborhood where we used to fly, and this was before a lot of the rules kicked in. And we had neighbors that were super supportive and very kind to us and very, very nice and let us do things that we probably weren't supposed to do. Okay, we're at 10.2. Let's go ahead and bring it up front and just take a landing here.
Okay.
By the way, you guys are gonna hear the wind, just to let you know kind of how insane we are.
Whoa.
What?
Wind.
Whoa, power, power, power. Whoa. I don't know why it struck the ground like that. Throttle cuts on. That was basically low voltage. Yep, it is. So throttle cuts on, everything's tested. Camera crew, if you can hold that. I'm bummed that I came in and I felt like I had a pretty sweet landing actually, but then it just got to that point where it wasn't spinning fast enough to generate what we needed to generate. And by the way, full disclosure, look at that. No damage whatsoever. I am so pleased about that because I was like, why did it touch? Well, you see where the sock is? I slightly misjudged. I should have been more like this. And that would have got me in. I could have come in. And that's one of the things you learn about helicopters. You can come in at whatever angle you want. You can land backward if you want. Most people don't do it because it just, I don't know. I try to make it look realistic. But these things will do insane things and it will get your juices flowing, I promise you. Can we do one more flight with this? One more pack?
Or, yeah, we'll have to go in and get one.
Yeah, of course. Right. We are at, by the way, dang it, I didn't have the time. It cleared it. Oh. When I walked out of the telemetry menu.
Well, I mean, we're almost 12 minutes on video.
So we could call that conservatively 10 minutes. So 10 minutes of flight time is probably realistic on that. 10 minutes is probably pushing it right to the envelope though. So keep in mind, this thing is really good. I love flying it. I am more confident flying this than the 230. The 230, I was the next most confident. And then somewhere in the middle between here and the 230 and then the next least confident, like the next one that would, well, the next most confident would probably be the E150, the Eachine 150, which by the way, is very expensive, but it's very good and it's very small. So lots of things to consider. We always try to leave you guys links to buy whatever you want. I know sometimes we get a bad rap, like people say we're Horizon boys or whatever. I'm a fanboy of Horizon. I've been for years before we were working with them. I love Horizon stuff. Blade is a Horizon brand. Spectrum is a Horizon brand. We work with all these companies. We work with their competitors. We work with whoever's gonna work with us. And they know it too at Horizon. They probably hate it. But the thing is, we just wanna bring you guys the best, most exciting stuff that we can get our hands on and put before you on YouTube because we love doing it. And Megan, the camera crew, my wife, my beautiful wife of many, many, many years, I'm not gonna say the number just because it's so huge, it would age us. But the thing is, we have grown up doing this together and it's really cool to be able to share something on that level. It's really neat. So anyway, without further ado, before I get into the mush, let's get a new battery and we'll be right back. So, it's on life support. We're praying for a speedy recovery.
Pull the plug.
Do you hear how ruthless she is?
Yeah.
Is this what I have to look forward to? Just kidding, that's what the ESC does. Gives you a warning. So in that plethora of and all those noises, you can't hear that, no. Just so you know. But the other thing too is, I did evidently catch the tail just a little bit, which surprises me big time. So I don't know how that even happened, but I just kind of like rubbed the little bit of plastic off because I evidently grinded it down on the concrete. And this is what came off of it right here. Just some little pieces. So I don't even know what the heck happened because I thought I hit my main rotor, but the camera crew pointed out that she doesn't think I actually hit that. So it's possible maybe this tipped and it just barely made that down to the ground. So either way, I was super surprised that this was still intact and fine. But maybe what happened is I heard the noise and I did correct a little bit quick enough to kind of bring that up. So the body was like this. And so that would have allowed this tail to get down because I was rolling this way. Either way, it doesn't really matter that much, but let's pull this battery out. Okay, so it's warm. Feels nice.
Yeah.
It's not puffed.
No.
This pack would have probably been about like this is. So just I would say that's a very moderate puffing, if anything. Okay, let's plug it in. Yeah, that's 0%.
Yep.
Oh, jeez, 2.53. Okay, so when a voltage drops that low, that is an unusually low. So that means that you hit like the bottom and then it starts falling out. The bottom drops out from under you. So I would say maybe like 8 minutes is probably about where you want to call it quits. Now we were doing 3D flying and stuff, so it wasn't like we were being super nice to it. Also this Velcro strap, in our initial flight, I was a little bit annoyed by it, but it's been working fine. I still prefer the kind that you pull through and then you can double back. But this has been working fine. And it's really pretty easy to do because what you do is you just pull this super tight and you just kind of walk that over the top. Then you end up with like a little bit of a cross. I'm not crazy about that. I like the bigger purchase, the bigger surface area. And then that holds it. With that little piece of non-stick, what's that?
Put in there.
Shelf liner.
Mm-hmm.
That's been working pretty good. So without further ado, we're gonna basically get back outside. I'm gonna get this thing, I'm gonna actually let it cool down. General rule of thumb is let your batteries cool a little bit before you charge them. If you're at the flight field and you're charging your packs while you're there through a DC implementation, whether it's a big battery from a car or truck, or if you've got just like limited AC power available because you run off a generator at your flight field or whatever it is, or if you've got battery banks that you charge from, or you bring a big battery and you charge small batteries, it might be tempting to just plug this in right away. But I can tell you from experience, the best thing you can do is let them cool down a little bit. Like this is not even really that hot. It's probably okay.
Yeah,
it's
like
not bad.
Barely.
We could probably plug this in and it would be okay. But the only thing that concerns me about this pack is that 2.56. So let's just see what happens when we plug it into the charger. Okay, so we got another battery that we're using for another flight. Let's go ahead and plug this in and see what happens on the smart charger. So of course this is the S2200. If you don't have an S2200, I'd highly recommend it. It's definitely not perfect, but it's very good. It's the best we've ever had. We'll go down here, 2.8, jeez. Now that's gonna recover quicker than the other ones because the chemistry wants to be in normal spec, basically. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to bring that up before it even really starts counting through the milliamp hours hardly. So we're at 2.9 already. That was 2.6 on the XBC. The other thing is you have to remember that this thing is balancing the whole time. Every one of these smart batteries is constantly balancing itself through this little chip that's inside of here. So if you've ever crashed a plane and you totaled a battery and you very safely took it apart, you can see that chip. So we're already into the threes. 3.15,
yeah,
3.16. So that's what's gonna happen, is gonna bring that up. It's already at 4%. So I don't know if that means that battery was bad. I kind of tend to think it didn't. But the other thing too is we could also use a higher C rating pack. We have as high as 100C, but only in 4S. I think we have a 50C and we have a 100C in 4S 2200. I don't think we have a 100C in a 3S. Because why would you need a 100C in a 3S? It's a very unusual size. Yeah. So anyway, okay, so you can see I put the lead this direction. We've been having good luck with that. I kind of take it under like this, and then I just kind of twist it to whatever direction it needs to be. And then once I plug it, I leave it alone. I get my transmitter, obviously in a safe spot. Let it go through the full boot process before I start messing with it. And again, this isn't exactly a beginner aircraft, so I'm kind of preaching to the choir a little bit on this. But just in case you guys were wondering, sometimes when you get into a helicopter or an airplane, and maybe you're like way better of a natural pilot, so you're like only 2 years into it and you haven't had a chance to pick up on some of the things that we pick up from doing this for, how long has it we've been doing this? About like 6.5, 7 years?
7 years.
7 years. Mm-hmm. So if you've been doing this 7 years, we picked up on a lot of stuff in 7 years. And we have flown a lot of planes. There's people that have flown more than us in 7 years, but I would say that we're probably on the higher end of that because of the way that we do these reviews, which is really cool. It's a good position to be in, but it also means that we have had a chance to learn some of these tricks. If you're a more natural pilot, or if you came back from piloting previously, learning some of these tricks, maybe you've skipped over them on accident. So we go into that a little bit just to help bring you guys up to speed if you need it. And boy, I love this thing. So we're gonna get back out there and fly some more. Timer's set to 8 minutes or 5 minutes still. I think 5 minutes is a safe spot. That's where we get our first warning. And she's already thrown out a bunch of voltage warnings and temperature warnings by the time we do into the 3D flying. So stay tuned, more coming. All right, so we have the second pack in, throttle holds off. We're gonna go ahead and get this thing spooled up. Just be on the sticks in case it wants to tip on you funny. Into the wind, let it wind vane. Get up in the air if you can. Okay, so we're gonna fly over and get into the 3D stuff pretty much right away. Camera crew is gonna go behind me for a second, my apologies. Okay, so we are in the safe mode right now. We're gonna go into intermediate right away. That's gonna get us straight into whatever we wanna do, but with less downs and less ups. And then we're gonna go into crazy mode shortly here. It just flies, it's so different than flying a plane in certain ways and so similar to flying a plane in other ways. And you'll note that I'm quite far away, so I'm gonna go back into safe. Safe gives me, I feel more nervous bringing this down than I do doing anything else. Obviously going up gets you away from obstructions, trees and whatnot. But the thing that's nice about when you're in safe is you can bring it down. It kind of limits how far or how fast you can bring it down. Because like if I'm in crazy mode, check this out. Here's crazy mode. See how fast it goes up, how fast it goes down? Okay, so watch this. How fast you can do that. Upside down, and then back right side up. Just trying to keep my coordinates and my wits about me, not freak out, because I have, all it takes is 2 seconds and you can switch back to normal mode, which is safe. And I'd like to change that nomenclature too. I don't want it to say normal, I want it to say safe. You see how much more tame it sounds too? You can really hear the difference on this helicopter. So part of my predisposition to flying this thing is the visibility has been so much better. We talked about that a little bit in each flight, but I can't stress it enough. Just having that extra size really makes a huge difference, and I feel like it holds up to the wind just a little bit better. More power, more penetration into the wind, less impact from the wind. I mean, there's still wind impact, don't get me wrong, but that is so cool. Oh, that is so cool. And also scares the crap out of me. Okay, now safe on. You see, that's what's so nice, folks. You can just kick safe on and then just fly it back, kind of get your coordinates, get your wits about you. It gives you that break, that mental break that you need as an immature 3D pilot. Let's call it that. That's probably a fair assessment, wouldn't you say? Like an immature 3D pilot. I'm working on my maturity. Okay, here we go.
Say anything.
I love those inside out loops. Coming down. I know it's going to be hard to film here, camera crew. Coming down, coming quick. That is so cool. That is so cool. Bringing it down. It's just strange because like sometimes it's harder to get going forward than you think it should be. And I gotta say, okay, I'm back in safe. I gotta say, this thing switches from safe to crazy modes better than the 230S. Look at those lines in the sky. Do you see those lines in the sky? Oh, it might be my polarized lenses, sorry. That is so sweet. So folks, all I can say is I'm super impressed with this helicopter. They are not especially cheap helicopters, but boy, I tell you what, you can actually fly them. And that is the key. If you get a helicopter that looks cool and all you can do is just sport flying, you're gonna be pretty disappointed. I can tell you from my personal experience, I love flying this thing. It's been very fun. They are quite easy to pack away, but also you can make it look super realistic, like it's coming in to pick up the patients at the hospital or whatever it is. And I would like to look up and see what types of aftermarket body parts we can get for these things to make them look like other cool helicopters. I still feel like Horizon's missing the mark. They need to get into some more scale helicopters bad. I mean, you can't let Motion have all the sweet stuff. And when I say sweet stuff, what am I talking about? This thing is awesome, but I want to have a cool looking body on there too, you know? Because really, if you get right down to it, this thing flies great. Once you figure out that you can fly it and do whatever you want, then you can slap pretty much whatever body you want on any helicopter, and you can make it look even more realistic and more cool. What do you think of the helicopters, camera crew?
I think they're really cool. They're just more intimidating.
They are. They are in every way.
Yeah.
They're more intimidating to fly, in my opinion. They're more intimidating in so many different ways, but yet, like, you can't tell how controllable it is from watching, but like the confidence level to do some of these crazy maneuvers that I really am just learning how to do, no less on camera. I do some of this stuff off camera, but it's pretty rare. Most of what I do is on camera anymore. But when Esteban comes over, we'll fly together, and I'll have to show him something. Then that's when I get really crazy and then stuff gets broke.
Yeah.
So just so you guys know, the S30 crashed from about here, the S230. I was in or out of safe. I was upside down at low altitude in a bad attitude. And I think I came in like about here, and then it crashed to the ground hard, and it was upside down. And that helicopter is still flying today.
Yep.
I mean, we fixed it. I had to spend, well, $6, I think. I had to get a gear. Everything else I either had in the kit or I fixed it with model or the Formula 460 canopy glue, whatever formula it is. I forget the number. Forgive me, folks.
540 or
540.
something like that.
Yeah, Formula 540 model glue, which is basically like, it looks like a really runny Elmer's glue that's rubbery. And I'm sure I added some weight to it.
How does this one compare in size to that blade that you had a long time ago?
Oh,
that
you know,
never really flew.
You mean the CP1?
Yeah, that's
the one that I never really flew because it was just too hard.
Is this a similar size to that, or is this bigger?
It's gotta be probably somewhere in the middle between this and the 230.
Okay.
No, the 230 is probably about that size there, camera crew. And by the way, I don't know if you guys can tell, but there's a lot of wind. Look at the grass. I'm gonna try to hold still so you guys can focus on the grass. You guys see the grass ahead of the helicopter, not under it. It's windy here. Windy. And look how controllable and nice this thing looks. So cool. Okay, we're 3 minutes, so that's 8 minutes on flight time. We're gonna come in here and just bring it in for a nice, easy landing right in front of the driveway. And chop like it's hot, throttle cuts on. 3 minutes and 30 of flight time plus five. That'd be 8.5 minutes of flight time without hitting low voltage warnings. And we weren't being nice to it. It's not like we were sitting out there doing nothing with it. I can definitely tell you that this is my favorite helicopter by a fair amount. The 230, you know, if budget is your issue, the 230 would be a great option. And it's still a little bit cheaper to fix. And it's a lot simpler because this thing has that boom that runs out the back, and you run the tail rotor off of the same drive. So just love the way this thing flies. It looks so dang gorgeous. And I mean, just look at it. I'm gonna let it spin real slow just so you can kind of see it work. I just love that they work together. That is so cool. And really, really happy with the way all the components work together. It's just so pretty. And then to watch it in the air, it really satisfies, you know, the ability to coordinate and see where you're going I wish there was an easy way, like you had a two-face design, so like one half of the canopy was X and the other half was Y, so like red and blue or something like that was distinct, or green and blue, like, or green and red. So it'd be like, you know, navigation lights. And I think honestly, navigation lights might help a helicopter in that sense. I know that the Blade 230S was really helped by the night lights on the tail, but they are ugly as sin. I mean, they are ugly. Of the time.
Yeah.
So the Blade, we have a night light kit that goes on the actual blades, and that is incredible, and it is so cool, but it is so butt ugly because you've got 1S batteries that are actually on the Blade. And while it's a novelty item that's really fun to do, it's definitely not an everyday thing.
Right.
So really what I want to do is get into the helicopters that are even yet bigger than this. And as I advance through the skills necessary to do some of these tricks and these things, I want to continue to improve my visibility by getting bigger and bigger blades. And these blades are absolutely gorgeous, by the way. Did you show them? Carbon fiber blades.
Yeah.
That is so cool because they've painted the front white and then the back is painted black, and then it just shows through and it's got a clear coat. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, look at how sweet that is.
I mean, I can tell just knowing you as well as I do that
That's
you
so
like this one and that you feel a lot more confident.
Way more confident. Way more confident. And even though our son calls it the death machine,
because he's 4,
our youngest son, which I think is hilarious. He probably heard me say it. But this thing is probably the lesser deadly of the group of helicopters that we have because it's just easier to fly. Yeah. The other thing too is like, when you look at these blades and how easily they flip out of the way, if you do hit something, you're gonna damage stuff bad. But the thing is, these things do get out of the way, and it's amazing how that will help to preclude the damage that you would expect to happen. Same is true here. Did I hit that again?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. It just pulled the plastic fibers out.
Yeah.
So it's like a fiberglass, not plastic. So super impressed, guys. We were hoping for dead calm on a second thoughts for this, but we figured we would do it before next summer.
Yeah.
So in 2022. Mm-hmm. So very happy. Just to prove we're on a farm, we're gonna wait until this giant tractor goes by. I think he's got anhydrous on board. So he's going to do some field management.
Disking stuff up, yep.
Yep. Oh yeah, yeah. No, they're just getting anhydrous in. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Come back for more. Oh, by the way, if you want to support our channel, buy this thing from the links in the video description below, and then you will help us to fund this extravaganza. And more coming, we promise. We'll link to the battery, we'll link to the helicopter, and we'll go ahead and link to the transmitter. Stay tuned.